Welcome into Pugs Parker. I, of course, am your humble host. No, I am not Mike Hunt. What are you doing messing with my funny names? I'm not Mike Hunt.
Hey, so if you'll notice in your left margin above your preview window where it has the network connection bars, yours is on the yellow.
Wait, what are you saying? Say again?
So in the margin on the left-hand side of your screen where your preview window is, where it says, "Hey, would you load right to the right of that? That's your network connection strength, and it's yellow. See how mine's green and I have all 4 bars? My network connection is a 2 and yours is an 8 out of 10. And it was doing that yesterday when it was now it's green. But it was doing that yesterday.
I just fixed it.
When it was glitchy on us. What did you do?
Yeah, I just had to refresh it. No, I can check the speed. I'm connecting like a mofo. My speed and connectivity and all that stuff is good. The issues that I was having yesterday, and we're hoping that we don't have them again today, I think we fixed. I think it was just Google Chrome. I don't know if you use Chrome as a browser, but sometimes it gets a little, janky. And you gotta uninstall it and then just reinstall it again, and everything's fine. I think I'm able to share things now. I think I've fixed those problems. So here's hoping. Look who's here! It's E. E's here as well.
Hey! I overdressed for the show.
What do you mean? I'm wearing like a pajama top. Oh, look at James. James looks like he's serving drinks. James looks like he's
I'm in a nice shirt. I'm in a plaid shirt. It's got buttons, little snaps.
I feel like it's a Western
I'm saying,
shirt.
It looks like you're serving drinks. You look like you're a waiter. Like
I'd wear that. I'd wear that.
All right. Yeah. This looks
very
like
silent out of the Pugs department.
Pugs doesn't wear this stuff because he refuses to be too Southern.
No, is that a particularly Southern thing? I mean, I would wear that. I think that's a very nice shirt. I'm just saying he looks like he's waiting. People who wait tables or 10 bar, they tend to look nice because they're trying to make. The idea was I'm wearing a pajama. E is wearing, I don't know, something ridiculous. J nice. That was my whole point. Hi, Whitney.
John. I think that you are trying to placate the Western folk that are part of this Texas audience, and I would never think of you in a snap shirt, a Western snap shirt, and I think that you would never put on a Western snap shirt.
Is that what that is?
The shirt.
You talking to me or Pug?
Shirt thing?
No, I'm saying Pugs would never wear a Western snap shirt.
Agreed.
Well, why? I've never had the opportunity to. Of course I would. If what he is wearing is a Western snap shirt, of course I would wear that. I've never been given one, and I've never purchased one. But I have no objection to it.
Look,
Yeah,
I've seen snaps.
Sure, yeah.
Have you ever owned a pearl snap shirt?
No, I haven't. I've also never owned an Affliction shirt. I've never owned any Von Dutch gear. I mean, there's lots of different fashion categories that I've never checked the box to. But that's a nice shirt.
Comparing a pearl snap shirt to Van Dutch.
No, he's making a point that and it's kind of reinforcing my point that there is certain types of shirts that are only worn by certain segments of society, and Pugs I've never seen him cross over. He'd be welcome to wear a pearl snap shirt if he ever decided that he wanted to be,
pearl snap guy. I could be a pearl snap guy. I have no objection to it. I've just never been, I've never been confronted or introduced to it.
In all fairness, I only have 2 pearl snap shirts, and they would not have been my choice living up north. You have to kind of get accustomed and used to being in the South before you would choose a pearl snap shirt. It feels like something that Lyle Lovett would wear.
It is. He's probably
Okay.
wearing them
See,
right now.
and this is where I am learning because I am very familiar with that type of shirt, the pearl snap short, button shirt. I've seen them up north. I didn't until this very moment ever consider them to be a necessarily southern thing. But I'm learning something. So there you go.
I'd say a cowboy thing.
Cowboy
Not
thing,
maybe not a southern thing. I'd say cowboy thing.
country
Well-
music thing. Is it like a what a nudie suit? James, do you own a nudie suit?
A nudie suit. I'm not sure I know what a nudie suit is.
Emil, do you know what a nudie suit is?
A nudie suit? No.
Oh, God, now look who knows more about cowboy and Western attire. A nudie suit is a nudie. Nudie was the designer. He designed all of those really well. Here, just go. This will be how I'll show that my thing works now.
Well, no wonders. I never claimed to be a cowboy attire expert.
know. That's
I
fine.
just know of a pearl snap shirt.
We all know what nudie suits are. We just maybe don't know that they're called nudie suits. Here, this is nudie. Nudie was like some Indian designer, some like fashion designer on Rodeo Boulevard, Rodeo Drive, or wherever. Here, let me.
So that doesn't sound very
suit.
cowboy.
No, but it was very popular with the Cowboys. You know who shopped? Gene Autry. That's right. You know who shopped there? Everybody at the Grand Ole Opry. Right. These are nudie suits. Oh, I didn't share it. Here you go.
Just like a Lester Flats. Yeah, okay. Like
Yeah,
Buck Owens.
crazy country western suits.
Well,
Okay.
see, the one thing I like about these suits is this is where the sort of country western style and culture overlaps with our Mexican counterparts in Tejano culture because they wear stuff like this. They wear big dumb cowboy hats and they run around in boots and they have big fancy belt buckles and stuff and they look and sound a lot like us.
But I think some of these, the reason I know what nudie suits are is because I think some of these jackets are really cool. Like I would wear like a nudie jacket. I don't know if I'd wear the whole suit, but the jackets could be very fashionable.
It looks very Mardi Gras-esque.
Well, it's Grand Ole Opry.
In a western way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more Grand Ole Opry. But I think it was Elvis who discovered the nudie suit, and then he started wearing them, and then everybody, like all the country western singers, when they wanted to get their fancy suits, they would go to Nudie on Rodeo Drive and get their country western suit. James. So
the comment here from Barney that I've put on the screen, when the whole world's spinning and your head hurts, there's cheap bourbon whiskey, pearl snap shirts. That's a song. Texas country song, Jason Boland and the Stragglers. It comes up.
Cheap bourbon whiskey and pearl snap shirts are two things that stay the same. So when the world starts spinning and your head hurts, there's a cheap bourbon whiskey and pearl snap shirt.
Oh yeah, that was just a pop culture reference he was making there.
I like it.
There you go.
All right, very
See,
good.
I think like in the shirt world, you put a pearl snap on it, it immediately identifies it to cowboy. I think in the jewelry world, you put turquoise in it, it immediately goes to Indian or cowboy.
Agreed. I'm with you on that. Jade almost.
Jade goes Asian.
Yep.
Turquoise goes immediately Indian or cowboy.
Okay, so you mean like I didn't know what you meant. You were talking jewels. When you said Indian, I didn't know if you meant like Native Americans or like Indians.
Oh, you damn well
Native
know what he
American.
meant.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I really didn't. I thought you were talking about because okay, so we were talking about Nudie. Nudie's from India. Nudie is an Indian guy, so I thought that's what you guys were talking about. His name is like Nudie Sashwakwamam or something.
Ah,
like that.
just like Nips.
Dude, no.
Well, I'm sorry. I was trying to do something else here.
Well,
Here,
but I mean, it's interesting to me how like a particular thing, like a particular accoutrement, could all of a sudden send it in the direction.
Nice. I like it. Hold on,
Practice.
fellas.
Are we done with fashion talk? Or can we move on?
Oh, it's your shirt that brought this about.
I know. I'm enjoying it. I thought we nailed it.
It's my tidy whitey that I unprepared because I was in the middle of building.
What you building?
I am building a gym in the garage.
Under Pugs?
No.
I thought that was your smoker's lounge.
No. Well, half is a gym and half is the lounge. The lounge
Nice.
observes people in the gym. It's a very sick concept
very
in
nice
that
setup.
garage.
I like that.
I'm sure it's going to be very cool when it's finished. He's Emil is a guy of impeccable taste. Every room that it's going to be very cool. We're sure. Now, hold on. I wanted to try this. This is just apropos of nothing. Look at me. Apropos. We're all going to. James, now you got to work a nice French phrase.
We're off.
Right.
So I wanted to check and make sure if my sharing feature was working because remember I said I had to redo the Chrome.
Oh, that's right.
James shared with us yesterday that LSU basketball player who is a sports swimsuit cover girl or whatever. What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Angel Reese. Angel Reese, yeah. That's fantastic.
James shared with Angel. So,
I don't know, dude, because you're kind of skipping on us, bro.
Did you say Lisa Monet?
I said Janelle
Bonet?
Monet. I said Janelle
Okay,
Monet.
well,
You guys know who Janelle
Watch
Monet
ours
is?
because your network connection went down to red for a second there. Janelle Monet is a singer, right?
Yeah, hold on. Let me do something with my connection. Yes.
You're at 7 right now, 7 to 10.
Yeah. Ed says okay. All right, we'll figure it out. Anyway, let's see if this will work. Let's see if this will play. All right. Janelle Monet was trending today, and this is why. She just dropped a new video.
You think?
Okay. Is it really bad and glitchy?
Man, it was really
I-
glitchy. We got to watch it again. I couldn't tell what was going on.
Oh, seriously, dude. Emil, was it glitchy or was it not? That was a scientific experiment so that I could alleviate some of my anxiety. Did it work?
Truth be told, there was a glitch or two in it.
Yeah, I think it might be the connection. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, pass it to me and I'll play it.
Because James, you're absolutely right. The connection was to do a share screen, and now the connection is down again. All right.
You want to send me a link then?
And it doesn't make sense because there's one less drag over there.
No, it does make sense because it's still not. James, you're probably using a hard wire, right? You're plugged directly in, or are you using a Wi-Fi? Yeah, you're not using a Wi-Fi connection. So the Wi-Fi connection that I'm using is in a house that's across the yard. So we're using an amplifier to get it over here. So it actually does make sense. It just doesn't make sense that all of a sudden it's been worse than it's ever been. Because you're right, there is less drag, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's the trees.
I don't know. Okay, but it seems to be back up. I'm in the green now. Yeah, you guys are solid the whole time. I'm the one that keeps dropping down.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
I have an idea.
Or send me the link and I'll play it on my end.
Tomorrow, just go plug in at the house. Set up a little desk over there.
Well, yeah, Ed said that's probably what I need to do. I need to use your actually hard plug-in where your studio used to be. You've got like a hard plug into the wall. He said that'll, but we'll see. Hey, the owner of the house said it's okay. So there you go. We got it right. If that is something we have to do, we have your blessing. Is that all right?
Yes, of course. Okay.
All right. What do we have? James, do you have anything that you want to talk about? I've got a funny story, really.
I thought, were we done with Janelle Monet?
Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to see if the video would play, and we learned that it didn't, that there are still problems, although it was better
Wait
than
a minute, that was it?
That was it. I was just tantalizing you with a sexy Janelle Monáe video. She released a video. She has been trending for 12 hours because of that little 3-second video of her in the pool.
She's been trending for about 4 minutes on this show with James and I.
Yeah, no.
We'd like to see that again.
Well, do you guys know who she is? Like, are you familiar with Janelle Monáe?
No idea, but I'm trying to figure it out. If you'd show it again, I might give it a gander.
James, how about you? Did you know who Janelle Monáe is?
Of course I know who Janelle Monáe is. Okay, look, I found the video over here on my side, so we can share it on my screen. I was just being lazy. You're welcome. Amel's not even trying over there, but
I don't even have those opportunities.
Amel, Janelle
I'm like
Monáe,
a little kid.
Janelle Monáe, and you not knowing who she is just because you're an old white man. Janelle Monáe is an extremely hot performer right now. Singer, actor, performer, dancer. She does it all. And she's unreal. She's been hot 10 years ago when I saw her when she did that collaboration with Outkast. Tightrope, I think, was the single that she had from it. Man, I said, this girl is something else. And now look at her. God, she's hot.
Is that like 1970s
Right?
her, or is that modern day her?
No, that's her today, E. But yeah, they're using that 1978 filter. You know that, and she's wearing
shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, she's wearing like
the whole well, even the pool feels that way. The whole atmosphere feels a little 70s.
It is above ground, so that is something. Al Gamboa points out the real bad news about all of this is that she is a lesbian. Yeah, she is. Janelle Monáe is a lesbian, and she's exclusively with women. And you know, we can still look and appreciate her, right? She's
well, there is no bad news in that.
Right. It's not like I was going to hit it anyway. And the fact that I just learned that goes off and gets with some other hot chick is great news, actually. That's fantastic.
Well, it just lets me know that I'm not part of the loser pile. Like the fact that, you know, she is hitting men, I don't feel like I'm in the category of going to be selected.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I mean, yeah, I like James's perspective that, you know, I always say this is my argument when people, you know, debate Ginger or Mary Ann. I always chime in with, it's a fantasy. You go with the Hollywood sex bomb, not the girl next door. What's wrong with you? It's a fantasy. It's not going to happen. So you're right, James. There's no reason to be upset as a male finding out that Janelle Monáe is gay. She wasn't going to be with you, me, or Emil anyway.
Well, but I will say that this Janelle Monáe video has tweaked the fantasy a little bit for me.
Yeah.
I now envision myself in a 70s me.
Ooh.
In the Janelle Monáe video.
Let me ask you something. Let me take
now I think back like, okay, that was my era.
All right, hold on. Let's be honest, because I just thought about something. Let's say that's your backyard. It's 1978. You're like what, 20-year-old E, 18-year-old E? What are you? You're a kid. 1978.
78. I'm 15. I'm 15-year-old.
Oh, 15-year-old E. Okay.
15, 16.
1978, 15-year-old E. That's your backyard. You're ditching school because the new girl, you befriended the new girl, and you guys are swimming at your house. Your dad comes home. What does he say? What does your dad say? She's climbing out of the pool. Your dad comes home.
My dad, what does my dad say back then?
And
he's like,
how quickly does her skin color come up? Is that a problem? Is that a problem with your dad or no? does her look?
Wow, lots of things here to consider. Yeah. Lots of things here to consider.
Because on the one hand, Dad might be like, "That's my boy," but Dad might have some old school Italian kind of views on things. I'm wondering how that is.
I think that would overcome like all but the most hardened of racists.
Okay, I think I can answer the question.
Okay.
I think I can answer it. If I come home as my dad, how I envision my dad, okay, he would be proud, okay, that I had a girl over the house. Like I think there would be a level of proudness there.
And he would acknowledge she is top tier, right? She's not just getting a girl over to the house. She's
no. He was never very sexual like that. Like he would just acknowledge that he'd be happy that his son had somehow encountered this and had this situation going on. So I could see him being proud there. I could then see him furthering it by going, "Hey, y'all want to go take a run to the boat?" Like to go.
Johnny's wingmanning you.
Right. Like he would wing me. I could see him winging me up to like, "Hey, I own a marina. My kid's down there. Like, what boat you guys want to go on?" And so I could see him almost like chauffeuring us, like in the Lincoln, and we would go then to the marina.
All right.
And there he'd be engaging in conversation with the female, kind of busting her balls a little bit. I would see that happen.
But you don't envision, and this was sort of what I was looking for. You don't envision 1978 him having any problem with his son dating a black girl publicly, squiring her around Buffalo, where he's a known man. You're a known family. Does that at all play into it?
I think at this particular point, I would know that this was not wifey material.
Okay. Right.
Like I think that would be kind of, it might be a problem later. Like it was kind of known if you were dating a Jewish girl.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That, Jewish girls didn't marry non-Jewish people or vice versa. It was just kind of that way. And so I think for the most part, interracial marriages back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, I think they maybe started to kind of get going because wasn't that the Archie Bunker era?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it was that then start to be played on TV. That's kind of the way I remember.
Yeah, but also back then, 1978, man, when you saw a black man and a white woman, or a white woman and a black man, when you saw that in public, that was exotic. That wasn't like it is today. It's not like where we see people of all kinds falling in love and having families, and we don't bat an eye at it. But in the 70s, we did.
Well, and another thing was, for the time, my father had a lot of, black friends. Now, granted, they were professional football players that played for the Buffalo Bills, literally. Yeah. But, there was still a lot of, black men and black women attending things that my father would attend.
I have a follow-up. Is this or is this not in the era of Buffalo Bill great O.J. Simpson? Would O.J. Simpson be one of the?
No, that's after. It was actually.
Did your dad know O.J.?
Prior to that, yes.
Of course he did. He's a big shooter in Buffalo. You got to know Juice. That's great.
Well, I mean, part of it was O.J. and the electric company, and my father, was involved with the bar where Reggie McKenzie, who was an offensive lineman for the Bills,
isn't your godfather Daryl LaMonica?
Yes.
It's NFL Hall of Famer. Buffalo Bill, Oakland Raider great Daryl LaMonica quarterback is just, and he just, we're just learning that now. I'm telling you, there is more. He is an onion of interesting fun facts. Continue.
Well, I mean, to be honest, my dad brought the Pro Bowlers tour to Buffalo back in the early 67 or late 60s, early 70s. Sure. And so ABC Wide World of Sports doing the Pro Bowlers tour in Buffalo back then was a big deal for Buffalo. Oh, yeah. And so he had a bowling alley there, and it was unique at the time because it was really, really big, in terms of the amount of lanes. It had underneath it in the basement, it had a nursery, it had a bar, it had go-go dancers, it had a game room, it had pool tables, just all these types of different things. Excuse me?
Cash only.
Well, I mean, back then it was cash. Yeah, there were no
It
credit
was
cards
so much
or
easier to
anything like
skim
that.
back then. So much easier when everything was cash and nothing was digitized. Let me ask James, though. James, same situation. You know, you're, let's say you're not 1978, but like say 1996. You're squiring around Janelle Monáe out there in Tyler, Texas, or Chapel Hill, or wherever it is you're from. How's that looked upon? Is that all right, or was interracial and diversity of that kind pretty common in rural Texas?
No, I'd be fine.
Be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
So like around the year, like parents would be cool with it. You know, there wouldn't be any, oh, we're worried about the grandchildren kind of a thing.
There might be a conversation that's had that isn't had when you date someone within your own tribe,
Yeah.
but
Sure, and that's what is a great word, tribal. This is all tribalism. Great word.
yeah, because like you know, I can't even say race because there was a listener of the Pugs and Kelly show that was this she turned out to be a Jewish girl. She was like 21 at the time, and when I was on the show, it's like 25, 26, and she came out to an event, and we ended up hooking up. I went home with her, and I was like, "So can I get your number or call you? Or, you know, we got another event coming up on Saturday or something." She's like, "Oh no, we can't date because I'm not Jewish. Like we couldn't even date."
Was that Michelle?
I don't remember her name.
The crazy girl who ended up being a promotions girl.
No, she had to go back to she was pre-med, and so she had to go back. This was her last year of pre-med, and
Because
then
the
she was going to
crazy
take
one
her
I'm
into
talking
med.
about claimed that she was pre-law. That's the crazy one. I don't know if you remember. I thought that maybe was the one you went with. It'd be okay.
Maybe was it a tiny little brunette that wore glasses?
No. That was not her. I don't remember a tiny little
No,
brunette.
she had a really
Or,
Jewish. Seriously, I think it was like Shoshana or something.
I could say that in my family, let's go back to 1988. Let's say that if we did 1978, 1988 for me. If in 1988 I brought Janelle Monáe around and I was dating her, my mom comes home and finds me and her at the pool. My mom would be totally fine with it. My mom wouldn't care. Look, 100% with my mom, it would come down to, is she a bitch or not? Like if my mom thought she was like a cool chick, like a cool girl, like she'd be totally fine with her. It didn't matter. Grandparents.
But your dad was already dead.
My dad was
so
already dead. I can't speak to how my dad would feel. I assume very similar to my mom. My grandparents, completely different thing. My grandparents, who were very important and very influential in my life as far as, older, statesmen of the family and all that stuff. I would not have been able to bring her around my grandpa. Let me tell you about, not my grandpa, but my grandparents. And my grandpa would probably be okay with it because she was hot. Like on some level, my grandpa would be like, yeah, I get it, man.
Like I understand.
But your grandma can't meet her, okay? Your grandma, let's keep this one away from grandma. Because grandma would have a problem. My grandma, get this, James, you want to hear how crazy my family was? You have to understand, I'm 100% Irish because they believed in like purity all through. Everybody had to marry somebody who was 100% Irish so that the children would be, that's that crazy. When I was first squiring my first wife, Sloan, she's an Irish girl. She's half Irish, half German, but enough Irish that it's good. It would play in the family. You know what I mean? That's fine. They're okay if you're got other things in there, but you've got to have like a real serious commitment to Irish culture. And she did. She was raised very Irish and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. But we had to keep it a secret from my grandma, who loved that she was Irish, that she wasn't Catholic. She was Protestant. She was the other kind.
Oh my, that's a deal breaker as well.
She was the other kind of Irish. And Grandma never asked, and Sloan never had to lie. And we just avoided that. And if she had to, she went to Catholic masses and she played along and did all that. But yeah, that's how my family, though, the older people in my family were very, very racist. They were racist. They were school immigrant thought, stick to your own way. Everybody else is trying to kill you. Yay.
Was it racist or was it survival? Like think about it in that instance. Yeah. When you come over on the boat, okay, and it's just you with a lot of people from Italy or you with a lot of people from Ireland, or you with a lot of people from this area. It seemed like, to me at least, in New York, people migrated to areas of, well, this was the Irish neighborhood, and this was the Italian neighborhood, and this
Right.
was the Polish neighborhood, and the German, and so on and so forth. As they came over, they just seemed to go there. And then it was the elderly of that generation that came over on the boat that were saying, well, marry an Irish person if they were an Irish person, and marry a this and a that. And it was
Right.
like, I don't know that it was racist. It was just
Tribal.
like, hey, let's stay to this tribe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
I mean, like I think a racist, like let's talk about my grandpa, for instance. I think a racist would just hate any black person they would see simply because they were a black person. Whereas my grandpa, my grandpa enjoyed lots of black people, so he didn't hate black people. You know what I mean? He was just an old school Irish guy who grew up and spent 90 years of his life in the same Irish neighborhood, same neighbors, same church, didn't really stray. Oh, go
Or
ahead.
he was part of the group that, oh, well, he's one of the good ones. You know, there was always like an asterisk to the black person, you know, in a different way. Yeah, if they got along with them, they got along with most of them, but then they had a category of other ones
One of the
where
good
they
ones.
weren't as quite accepted.
One
Yeah,
of
one of the good ones.
My grandpa was that kind of old man racist in the 1970s, where he would
Mm-hmm.
frequently say, "One of the good ones right there," you know, and then he'd go on. He would always like he had a conscience about it. Like he would turn to me and he'd go, "It's one of the good ones there." You know, Johnny, because that was my name. He was like, you know, Johnny, there are some very good people in that class of. And I'm like, freaking
Right.
grandpa. And he's like,
Right.
they're not all bad.
Or-
So he wasn't Nazi. You know, he wasn't like kill 'em all, but he was bigoted and, you know, a man of his time. So
and don't you feel like that part of that era, and then continued out of that era, was, well, the Hispanic culture would work harder than the black culture. Then all of a sudden, that stigmatism to me seemed like it became the next version of, well, okay, now we're going to pick on the way that they work. Do you recall that at all?
I remember the shifting. I remember, you know, in the 1970s, if you came from a family that didn't like black people, there was sort of a, do we have a problem with Mexicans? Because their neighborhoods are very clean. You know, I remember actually hearing adults say that about the new rising Mexican communities that were popping up around Chicago, that they were different. Yes, they were minorities and they weren't like us. You know, we're white people. You know, that whole thing. They're not like us. Chicago, people in the South don't get it. Northern cities were never forced to segregate. So we are or never forced to integrate. So we are still incredibly segregated. Neighborhoods. I mean, I never had a black person. I never lived on a block with a black person, James, until I moved to Plano. And then I lived in this beautiful neighborhood in Plano, and it was very diverse. That was forced on the South. And the people who forced it on the South didn't bother to do it themselves. So
there's a wide set of experiences down here because, you know, when you say, would my parents care if I dated a black person? No, they wouldn't. They never developed any animus toward black people because where they grew up, there was zero black people. My mother was raised down in the Rio Grande Valley. She was in Westlaco first for elementary school. Then she was in Laredo for junior high with family. And then she was with some other family up in El Paso for high school. There's no black people that even crossed her path when she was growing up. So she never saw like racially segregated water fountains or anything like that. You don't have to do that. And so she never saw that. Plus, she was from an interracial marriage. Her dad's a mestizo and her mom is a ginger Irish lady, 100%, both sides. So, you know, it's kind of hard for her to frown upon interracial relationships because she's the product of an interracial relationship. My dad really didn't even know any black guys until he went to Vietnam. Like I asked him, when's the first time you had a black friend? He's like, Vietnam. He didn't. Yeah. So, no, I mean, they're from Texas. They kind of skip that whole Mississippi burning phase.
Well, good. If you're going to skip a phase in the history of Texas, that might be one to skip. E, you trying to get in here?
No, I'm just it's interesting to me how different it is in terms of the neighborhoods in the north and the neighborhoods in the south. There is not that different segregation. You don't have that, and you still have it if you were to go back to New York City right now, like the existing of Chinatown or the existing of Little Italy, and still those are just pockets. Harlem.
Spanish Harlem, Brighton with the Jews down there in Brooklyn. That's still a massive Jewish community. The Italians all over Staten Island, and I mean, yeah, it's in the northern cities. I would bring people from Texas to Chicago all the time. We'd come on trips. Hey, you've probably been on a couple of those trips where we came up with a group of people. And we would go through neighborhoods, and I'd be like, this is the German neighborhood. Oh, now we're crossing over into the Mexican neighborhood. The Texans never understood that. They're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm like, well, you see all the flags in the windows, and as you drive through the neighborhoods, you'll see German flags, and then suddenly you'll see Stars of David or Israeli flags, and then you'll see like Mexican flags, and they all have their own neighborhoods. And they stuck to their own, and animosity built, unlike what we saw during forced integration. People who were forced to integrate. I mean, because it's not, people think that the South was the only place where black people had it bad. Now, maybe because of Jim Crow, that's a great example of how it was different, but it wasn't really easy for black people in the North either. I mean, the black people in Chicago were forced into their own neighborhood in the South Side, and they were given the land like Indians and said, go ahead, do what you want with it. And, some of it became very successful, and the rest of it became ghettos and bad neighborhoods. But I don't know.
It felt like the North, to me, just let go of the concept of slavery earlier, but they didn't necessarily think the black person was any better.
Well, they didn't necessarily let go of slavery as much as that's not really good agricultural land. The Finger Lakes region isn't wide open spaces like Nebraska is or Mississippi is.
No, James, yeah, but you're wrong. You're forgetting the entire Midwest. I mean, there was a huge portion of the country that was in the Union was a farming and agricultural based. Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin.
Right. But it didn't take root. It didn't take root up in the Northeast like it did in the South because they industrialized out of that, and farming wasn't as lucrative. They couldn't grow the cash crops. Tobacco doesn't work well in Massachusetts.
Well, wasn't it always?
And Pennsylvania never had slaves.
But wasn't it always the point of the crop that it was cotton that specifically needed a human hand to be able to pull it so that it wasn't damaged? Whereas that wasn't the crop they were growing up north. They were growing corn, and that could be mass, whatever they call it, with machinery or with giant horse-pulled plows. Wasn't that the reason? Because the South's agriculture needed human hands. It needed a special touch that the Northern agriculture didn't need.
Kind of. But they just couldn't. They can't grow cotton. You can't grow cotton in Vermont.
Right. And so we don't need free labor to pick the cotton out of the. Yeah. So we don't need. So it wasn't their concern. They weren't worried about it. Corn can be knocked down 1,000 in a row, and you don't need one individual hand to pull it apart. Yeah.
Well, it seems like James is trying to justify the South's need for slaves because the North didn't have jobs for them. I mean, that's essentially, I think, what his argument is.
No, I'm not justifying the need for slaves. I'm saying I'm explaining why the North, whilst probably equally as racist against black, was easier for them to let go of the institution because they did not rely on it as much, and it wasn't worth the pain in the ass.
They didn't rely.
So they didn't have jobs for them.
Yeah, they didn't. The North didn't need slavery. That was the difference. Their corn, as Jeff points out, that's what I was laughing at. Jeff said that would be called a combine, Pugs. Yeah, because corn you can just knock it all down and scoop it all up. But that was the difference with cotton. Cotton needed to be picked and separated by hand, or else. Although didn't they then invent something that was doesn't the cotton gin do that?
Cotton gin. Yeah. But that's the process by which you get the seeds out of the cotton balls without having to pick them one by one.
Yeah, and that the picking it one by one is what slaves
did.
That's what the slaves did. They picked it one by one.
It made it quicker. It made the need for slaves even more.
Hey, let me change the subject here. As much as I'd love to talk about slavery for the entire show.
Oh, I have a killer topic that you're gonna love too.
All right, this one's real quick though. I just want to know if you guys heard about this today and how crazy this is. Now, people who watch the High Noon show, they know that I battle hiccups. I have a bad situation with hiccups. Hiccups always pop up between 12 and 12:20. Now, I'm not going to say every day, but certainly about every other day. Jeff Ballard, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Am I right, my man? Hiccups are something I deal with on the air live. So it's a big deal to me. Did you hear about Bo Jackson? Bo Jackson has to have hiccup surgery. Bo Jackson has had hiccups for an entire year. Bo Jackson has been suffering from hiccups. Bo Jackson mysteriously didn't show up for Frank Thomas, the baseball player. Frank Thomas and Bo Jackson played football and baseball together at Auburn when they were both there. Frank Thomas got himself a statue at Auburn University, and Bo Jackson was supposed to unveil it. He was supposed to be the guy unveiling it for his buddy, you know, but Bo didn't show up, and it was for some mysterious medical reason. And he told Frank Thomas, he said, it's for hiccups. And Frank Thomas was like, that's made up. You know, like basically Frank Thomas, like, you just didn't want to come to my thing. You could have just told me. You didn't show up. And so Bo Jackson had to prove it to Frank Thomas. And apparently Frank Thomas went on a podcast and told that story. And the story got out. And because Bo Jackson's very private. And the story got out. And a whole bunch of journalists tracked down Bo Jackson. And today Bo Jackson gave an interview about it. He's having surgery next month because he has had hiccups for an entire year.
Wow.
So
A long way to go for an anal plug.
Okay. Yes, James.
Well, I can't top that.
You don't have to. Just move on. Go ahead, James. You had another topic? I just want to talk about Bo Jackson because he's one of my favorite people ever. Go ahead.
Matt Ariza, this story. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not.
Oh, you are.
Who's Matt Ariza? Who is Matt Ariza?
Hard to believe.
Okay. Lay it on me.
All right. So Matt Ariza is known by his friends as the punt god. And he was breaking records with his punts at San Diego State University.
Yeah, rape boy. Punt god. Go ahead.
Oh, dude, I can't believe you just said that.
You're really going to regret that, dude. All right. So
he's a punk. He's a punk. He's a punk.
So
he's a punk.
year,
I've seen him in interviews. He's a dick. So even if it's not true, it doesn't matter. He's a dick and he's a punter. Go ahead, continue. Tell me the story. I'm not going to be defensive about it. The guy's a dick. What happened to him? Go ahead.
So he gets drafted in last year's draft. He signs a $3.9 million contract for like 4 years or whatever. And then he's accused of rape, and the Bills drop him. We find out now all the evidence has been turned over here, and here's what we've got. The kid's vindicated. Now, in the meantime, the Bills have dropped him.
Yeah.
Right? He's a free agent. He has a chance to go back and try and pick up his career again, but he's missed out on that $3.9 million contract. So, hey, I hope he can get another one, but whatever. The reason why this is such a compelling story and Emil is shaking his head is how absolutely bad the facts around this story are. Yahoo Sports this week obtained a 200-page transcript of a meeting between the prosecutors and the alleged victim. And in this meeting, it was basically they had to sit down. They're like, listen, we're going to record this meeting where we're going to go through all the evidence of why we're dropping this case. Like the prosecutors were telling the victim why we're dropping this case. It is so bad. So her side of the story is she was 17 years old and she snuck out of the house, and she's a high school girl that went to a college party, and some guys got her drunk and they took her to a back room, and 3 guys had their way with her, and they just took turns raping her. And the one guy that she remembered is the punt god, Matt Ariza. The actual evidence is from 35 witnesses at the party, some of whom include the girl's friends. She was telling people she was 18. In fact, there were a couple of guys that asked her straight up, and other people who heard the conversations that she was having with these guys. No, I'm 18. I swear I'm 18. And so there were plenty of people that specifically heard her say she was 18.
Okay, so she is in fact underage, but we're now going to go with that she told them that she was 18, which is believable. A high school girl trying to fit in at a college party, probably going to lie about her age. Okay.
Yeah. So multiple people, including some of her friends, confirmed that she was telling people that she was 18.
Yeah, makes sense.
She snuck in the back alley through the gate with her friends to the party.
I don't know if she had to do it. She had to sneak through a back gate. I didn't know about that.
She did.
You know more about this than me. You want to take over?
Well, yeah, he's a Buffalo
No,
Bills.
well, I just
So he's probably
Okay.
I understand what
This
she
is a
did. So
wasted
she
sixth
snuck
round
in.
pick for him. He's very personally invested. Go ahead.
Well, no, I thought I possessed your exact thought process and feeling about him until this story came back about 2 days ago. And just like James, I'm like going, oh my goodness, like you have got to be kidding me.
All right, next pile of evidence. Multiple witnesses. She said this to them, and other people heard her say to multiple men, I want you to F me, and if you don't F me, you're a British cigarette. You know,
Okay. All right.
the other F word. You know, rhymes with tag. She said this to multiple men. Multiple men said she said this to me. Multiple people said I heard her say this to these guys. Now, according to the story that she told the prosecutors tell her next at this meeting, the timeline, we have very clear, incontrovertible evidence that the punt god, had left the party more than 40 minutes before the time you claimed that 3 guys took you to the back room and raped you.
And rewind here now. Now's here where you got to rewind. So she comes into the party. She's there. She's telling people she's 18. Ariza goes to the side of the house to the fence, which is his house, where him and his roommates evidently are. And he's starting to take a whiz outside. She comes, somehow they now hook up. She ends up giving him oral sex outside the house on the side. So that's the first encounter. So she goes back, professes to the girls that she's with in the crowd that she's had sex with some dude, which at this point is the punt god. Goes off a half hour later, like James is saying, is heard, hey, if you've got one of these and you don't do this to me, you're a British cigarette. Comes back half hour later, goes back to the same group of girls, goes, hey, I just had sex with another dude. So now this is 2 that she's rung up. Now she goes into the room, and these 3 guys have way with her. There's cloudy video and camera angles and stuff where you can clearly tell it's not Ariza, and he has cell phone evidence that he trailed out of the party at like 12:30, and all this was going on about 1.
Okay, so all of this sounds very, very convincing, and it all sounds like stuff that could have been gathered in the first couple of weeks of the investigation. Why is it a year later, and why has this kid's football career been derailed? What's the situation there? That would be my question.
Well, it's because of the story that she told, and all of the things.
But all of these people who are now coming forward saying that, yeah, she told me that I was a British cigarette if I didn't. Where were these people when this kid's career was getting completely shit on? How did it take?
Well,
so long
there
for
was
people to-
nobody at that point making a case. Remember, this is something that happened.
It was an accusation, and there was an active investigation.
And it was 13, right, and it was like 11 or 12 or 13 months.
And
this girl, evidently, for monetary reasons, jumped, started the investigation or backfired
Right.
the investigation
I'm trying
because
to
she knew now he was going to be
Right.
worth money.
So the
So
supposed
really, this is just so. Hold on, wait a second. So the reason that for the last 9 months at least, this is going to the end of last summer. The reason that this kid for the last 9 months has been an absolute punchline, a joke. I mean, he's a kid. He's a college kid. We think that these are men because they're in the NFL, but this is truly a kid. A 22-year-old, a 23-year-old. That's still a kid to me. They've been put through hell for 9 months, the entire world thinking he's this awful racist. And now there's this preponderance of evidence that just sees the light of day in the last couple of days. I have questions about where this stuff was and why the San Diego Police Department or San Diego County or whoever it was in charge of this investigation took so fucking long to clear an obviously innocent person's name. I mean, that would be my big problem with this story.
And you would think they would be motivated because in that town, I mean, like he was referred to as the punt god, San Diego State. Like a lot of people said that they thought that they were suppressing the evidence and that this girl was in fact, you know, having to fight the fact that he was the punt god. In reality, it's reverse. She's taking advantage of the fact that he's the punt god, and he didn't do anything.
This is very.
I mean, other than he got oral sex from a girl that he thought was 18.
This is very reminiscent of the Duke lacrosse men's team when the Duke lacrosse team got into that trouble. This is the exact same kind of thing. Those Duke, make no mistake, those Duke lacrosse dudes were D-bags. They were all complete. They were Duke lacrosse players. I mean, come on. They all came from ridiculous money. They were D-bags, and they were probably capable of all kinds of horrible things. But they didn't do anything that night. And for a year, these kids had to drop out of school. I mean, why does it take so long when there seems to be so much obvious information to it break, for it to break public? Yeah,
not only the kids at Duke that were playing lacrosse there.
Right.
How about the coach? The coach got canned. Like that whole program got canned. Yeah. He is actually now the coach. Interesting fact. Here of the lacrosse team at MIS in Highland Park.
Oh Jesus, no!
that is how far.
Well, he's coaching at an incredibly rich kid school, so there's probably talent.
Well, but imagine
it's a
how
good gig
far you spun down from college to 6th and 7th and 8th graders in lacrosse.
Yeah. I'm, like I said, I'm sure that his private coaching fees are very, very steep.
Well, I don't know the guy, but I found out the other day, and he's like, yeah, remember when all those Duke kids got in trouble? Well, the coach got let go too. You know, it was a big scandal. And we benefited from that because, you know, in Highland Park, I guess he's here.
There you go.
So the scariest part, the scariest part about this story, well, it's not scary for women at all, but for dudes, this has to scare all. This makes your butthole pucker a little bit because any girl can just step up and ruin your life, and everyone will run with it, and no one's going to be in a hurry to exonerate you or, you know, get the exculpatory evidence out there, and they will slow walk the hell out of the truth. And that's a year after your reputation is not just destroyed, it's been destroyed, it's been burned to the ground. Someone's come by and peed on the ashes, and a bulldozer came and put it in a dump truck, and they took it out to the landfill and dumped it like that. This guy, I mean,
case in example was Pugs's response when you said, oh yeah, the punt god, scumbag.
Man, and see, the hard part is maybe he really is a jerk in real life. Maybe Pugs has seen some interviews with this guy and he's a jerk. And you know what? You still shouldn't be able to do this to jerks, you know? Like, even as bad as a person is, this is still, the injustice was done to him. An injustice was done to a jerk, but it's still an injustice. But any of us can be taken down at any time by a similar chick, just with the light transient of evidence. Because the thing that made this story big was the videos that leaked, and because it was hot, because this girl at a college party doing 3 guys, and is she into it, or are they raping her? Was this consensual, or was she forced on it? Because it looks like she's pretty eager and enthusiastic about the proposition, and then you find out, well, this is a 17-year-old girl who had alcohol.
Well, and it was also like the abuse of it, like she had piercings that supposedly were, ripped out of her, and she was bloodied, and just a lot of things beyond just normal sex, and so the fabrication of that, and then not being able to see that and actually be able to visually disprove that with other cell phone video that they obtained with dates and timestamps. I mean, this just really was a malicious fishing expedition, of a girl that, okay, she gave him oral sex, and I guess she felt jilted the next day. And, because remember, a lot of it was the text messages, and then she said something to him, and then
And
he
he's
kind of
also
responded.
the biggest. He's also the biggest man on campus. He was the only guy on that team drafted, and he went in the 6th round. He was a national guy that people were talking about because of his punting prowess. You know how rare it is that people talk about punters, and this guy was. So he was a target on that campus. Hey, I know we got to move on, and I want to mention one other thing that just came across my plate before we came on the show here. But James, do you? I know this is tagged to you from Leslie, but let me just read it. She says, James, it's very seldom that a woman would put herself through the pain of taking it public. Now, I will let you answer because it's for you, but let me say, I don't agree with that at all. I know that sounds like something that sounds good to say, that a woman would never put herself there. That's not true. That's not true in this day and age, and it's been proven that I am right time and time again, especially in this Me Too era. Women will do almost anything for clout. Now, I don't know what this is, maybe in the 90s, maybe a long time ago, but accusing people on social media of things is great for clout, and women do it all the time. James, that's for you, so go ahead.
Well, I hate to be like the parsing, like the semantic police here, but generally speaking, she's right. Women in general would not, go do this, but all it takes is one sociopathic, vindictive bitch, and your life is ruined. Even if it's 1% of women, we need to do something about it. Be like, as in, this bitch needs to go to jail.
Can I point something out, too, that's the fatal flaw in that statement? And Leslie's a very smart woman. She says, James, it's very seldom that a woman would put herself through the pain of taking it public. Yes, a woman who has actually been raped might experience the pain of going through that again in public. But a woman who's just making it up, who is what we're talking about, is not experiencing the pain that you say every woman. You're assuming every woman was actually raped, when the contention here is that some women claim they were raped just for the attention and they weren't actually raped. So
they're the ones inflicting pain.
Right. And I would argue that those women who bring false charges are not experiencing any public pain from going public because they're making it up.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Look, there's also...
I'm being a jerk. I'm trying to have a rational conversation and pushing back against what looks to be programming. Women who were raped, I am sure that is a terrible, terrible thing for them to have to go through. My heart bleeds for the victims of that incredibly brutal experience. But for a woman who wasn't raped, who was looking to get some clout or some attention, no, I don't think that she's going through any pain having to relive that in her fake tweets about what Aziz Ansari did to her. You know what I mean? Come on. E?
Well, yeah, and I think the sad thing is, if you're a woman, you cannot believe that another woman would stoop that low for something that's so embarrassing. And so it's probably harder. It's probably harder to come to grips with as a female. I mean, I can say that I have no idea, but I could understand how possibly that is harder to believe. But in the same breath, when you see a female doing that, and in fact that she's hiding behind that shield, and she's using that as basically cover to get other women on board that are not in her circumstance, that's somebody that's manipulative, that is not in pain, that is inflicting pain on others for her gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have? I'm missing a fact here, and you seem to know more about the case than me. I know that the alleged assault was supposed supposedly in October of 2021. He gets drafted, the next April, and then he gets cut in the summer. When did she make the accusation? Did she not make the accusation until after he was drafted? Did she make the accusation after he got the contract?
Right after he was drafted and he was about to start signing his contract and he was in camp, then it started. And so he got basically cut in camp.
That's another level of suspicion, convenient timing.
Oh, it was textbook timing for her to have done it the way that it played out, because there was nothing happening with the investigation. It was old. It was this, it was that. And she then had her lawyer, basically tailor a letter to the Buffalo Bills and took it on social media like, hey, you guys have still drafted this guy and you're not paying attention to women and, the pass that's being given to these people because they're athletes. And, it was played up by her attorney and her, and it just, it made him sound horrific. Turns out he wasn't even there through any of it. And,
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay. He was taking.
Let me address Leslie here. Who Pugs has never been a victim. Let me just dip back into my natural-born victimhood. My father was murdered, okay? Don't tell me that I've never been a victim, a true victim of something in this life, Leslie. That's some fucking bullshit right there. I mean, think of. I just can't imagine. I hope that's a terrible thing to say. You've never been a victim. These are people assume because what? I see that she says that she has been the victim of rape, and I think that's a terrible thing. But you do not corner the market on victimhood, lady. All of us have been victimized in one way or another throughout our life, or at least most of us have. I can't speak for everybody. But terrible, tragic things happen to all of us. Now, I'm certainly not comparing what I went through to what you went through. They are two completely different categories. But don't ever diminish somebody else's life experience and claim that they can't relate or that they somehow have a bad point of view because they're not a victim and you are. That's some bullshit. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Gee, all right.
Well,
Something needs to be said.
I was going to say my response to that is we are protecting sexually assaulted women. She says, I've been raped. I will still protect sexually assaulted women. We are protecting sexually assaulted women. We are condemning the ones that are lying about being sexually assaulted. It's not like we're diminishing the experience that actually sexually assaulted women go through. It's not like we are saying they should be ignored. No one has said that in this review. This has been about a broad that lied about being sexually assaulted. And so if that came across wrong, we're professional communicators for a living. That's a shortcoming on our end. We apologize. We do want sexually assaulted women to be protected. Everyone agree with that?
I do, but
yeah.
I got the anal suck it thing, and
to say it out
what
loud.
did I?
Yes,
you would think, but we're getting a comment, aren't we?
All right. Well, I mean, to me, I have been a victim of myself.
Well, and you're also
I've victimized myself of myself. Like, I mean, whatever.
Yeah. I would like to throw out there, though, that when you say everyone has some sort of victimhood status, I don't. Bad things don't happen to me, like bad, tragic things like this. They really only happen to other people. I don't know why. I'm just lucky, I guess. Maybe I just pray harder than the rest of y'all or something. But no, there's some of us that don't have any victimhood status.
I likes you more than the rest of us. No, dude, you know what? Brian,
Clearly he does.
But do not think I'm concerned about your arrogance here, because the world is coming for you, friend. It's out there. Arrogance about how my marriage is all going to be perfect. But man, just, a little more humility, I think, in the eyes of your God. It's out.
You're down to 2 bars. See what happens when you get down to 2 bars.
Yeah, I fucking know.
Is it you spinning the
It's
gun?
fucking driving me nuts.
Oh, no, I got a knife today. I got the knife today. I got one of these knives that they sell at the gas station.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, the second half
of
your rant got cut off.
Nah, fuck me. That was a good rant, too.
So when
right.
they
So
start
he's
selling
got a cool.
when they start selling all the cool knives at gas stations, man, I've bought so many knives from gas stations in the last 2 years. Bought like 6. I can't stop. They're all
you, you do the bulk of your shopping at gas stations, don't you?
Well, you know what else has gotten since I moved out to Bug Tussle? Dollar General is in the rotation far more than when I lived in New Orleans or Dallas. It is a staple of my. Yeah, I buy a lot of things in this house came from Dollar General, man. Big fan.
Did you down my Dollar General breakdown and what that is? I pointed that out just the other day because the
No, that was your Dollar Tree breakdown, and
no. So here's
it's
what
fun.
it is. So Dollar General, James, you bring this up. I said the other day I'd never been to a Dollar General. I was in a Dollar General today. I was my very first time ever.
Dollar General or Dollar Tree?
Dollar General. Now, here is how I break them down. Dollar Tree is my preferred one. Dollar Tree you can find in most normal suburbs. You know, doesn't have to be too funky. It can be just a normal suburb. You'll find a Dollar Tree. Family Dollar. If you're near a Family Dollar, you're in a bad. You do not want to live in the distance of a Family Dollar. Is the rural Family Dollar, where the Family Dollar is in the more urban areas that are not exactly great. The Dollar General is like that version for white trash out in the rural areas. And I'd always seen it that way, and I'd never experienced a Dollar General. And I walked into a Dollar General today, James, and let me tell you, I'm sold. I like the Dollar General. It's a good store. I salute you, Dollar General.
That makes me think about the whole store Five Below.
Have you ever been in a dollar store? E?
I have.
No, you haven't. What for?
I have.
What are you buying at the dollar store that you didn't find at Gucci? Or what are you doing at the dollar?
I've been to the orange and red logo one. I don't know which one that is. Right there on Mockingbird.
Family, yeah, that's a
Mockingbird and
Family Dollar.
lemon.
Yeah, that's the Family
That's
Dollar.
orange and that's orange
the one
and
that's in
red,
bad
right?
neighborhoods. That's always in bad, sketchy neighborhoods. You don't want to live within walking distance of one of those.
No, we have Family Dollars out here in Bug Tussle and in small towns. And what we have here is we are starting to have this weird battle between, Family Dollar and Dollar Tree merged. And what they've started doing out here in Bug Tussle, they've done this twice. At the one in Bullard and the one in Teasleville, there's a Dollar General that's been there and across the street. I don't mean like down the street. I mean like literally across the street. They have built a new building with a hybrid that's half Family Dollar, half Dollar Tree. So it's kind of like a Family Dollar Tree. But half of the store, if you go into the right, you're in Dollar Tree. The left half is in a Family Dollar. They did that in 2 stores that are like 5 miles apart. It is a war. It is an all-out battle for the I don't want to say white trash because it's more than white people, white, black, Mexican, for the low, socioeconomic dollar out here in Bug Tussle.
Cleaning ladies.
The dollar
all
stores
cleaning ladies. All the ladies who clean downtown office buildings in the middle of the night, you can find them at Dollar Tree or Dollar General getting their paper towels and their cleaning products and all of that. It's always a bunch of Mexican cleaning ladies every time I go into the Dollar General that I go to, or the Dollar Tree that I go to.
And isn't Dollar General, that's the one where the logo is yellow and black?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Dollar General.
So I know, and there's the pink and or the orange and red, and then the yellow and black, and then there's another one that's got green.
Dollar Tree.
Green and white.
That's Dollar Tree.
That's my favorite.
So those are the 3.
Yeah, Dollar Tree is my favorite and my preferred Dollar Tree. Everything is $1, which is great because that is not the case when you go to a Dollar General or any of these others. You buy things for $3, $4 at those stores, not at Dollar Tree. Everything is $1. It's a fun store, except everything's $1.25 now, and it ain't quite so fun.
So where you see
to go on my rant about it, but Jeff Ballard has already been warned in the chat room that he's afraid that I'm going to go on my Dollar Tree rant, so I won't. E?
So if you see a Five Below, like one of those Five Below stores now, right?
You know they're changing their name. They're changing their name to 10
They
Below.
are?
Yeah, they're going up to 10 Below. It's not a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, they're changing their name.
So is that then a new neighborhood to be moving out of?
Not yet.
No, Yeah, I think Five Belows. You can find Five Belows in strip malls that might also have a Target, which is good, a Starbucks, which is good. You don't want currency exchanges in nail places and vape shops in your strip malls. If you've got those in the strip malls that are within walking distance, that ain't good. But if you've got a strip mall that has, what were you just describing? What was the store?
Five Below.
Yeah, okay, so if you've got a strip mall with a Five Below in it, that's good. It might be a Walmart in there.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's when Five Below drops out of the strip mall, or it's when Five Below's in the strip mall and then it's approached on either side with vape shops or
massage,
car loan places. Title loans. Like it's when that's where that's turned. If you're Five Below, then that's a bad neighborhood.
Okay, guys, right now, I know we got to leave here. We're running out of time, but let's try and create the world's sketchiest strip mall. Okay, we've got 10 stores to fill. This is the world strip mall. I will start. We'll anchor it with a currency exchange. James, what else is this world's sketchiest strip mall going to have? We've got 9 more stores.
Sacred Oils.
Sacred Oil. There you go. A smoke shop. There you go. What else does our we've got
isn't that the
currency?
name of Brandon's shop? Brandon's shop is in it.
That is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sacred Oils, fine sponsor of the High Noon Show.
King Spa. King Spa is there.
That's it. Yeah, there is a massage place. There's a Jack Shack, a currency exchange, and Sacred Oils. And what else? Wait, it's my turn. Okay, so hold on. It's my turn. So there is a currency exchange. There is Sacred Oils. There is a massage parlor. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say there's a title loan place. A title loan place is anchoring on the other side.
I got another one.
What?
Pawn shop.
Okay. All right. I mean, that seems a little big for the strip mall, but okay. No, that's perfectly fine. James, what else you got?
I thought Emil was going to say wig shop. I thought that was because he had that kind of look on his face, like this is going to upset some people, but here it comes.
Yeah.
Were you thinking it and you changed it at the last minute? Did I?
No, I was pawn shop all the way.
James, what do you got? You got something?
Well, I see. For New Orleans, it would be a daiquiri shop.
That seems too nice. It can't be we're not encouraging people to drink at this strip mall. They would not
you
allow.
don't know what the hell I'm talking about because at every if you're in New Orleans and you're on the corner of rape and murder, there's going to be a daiquiri shop with bars on the windows.
Right, but that's New Orleans culture. I don't think you'll see that in a sketchy strip mall in Queens. They're not going to want people hanging out drinking. All right, I got one for you. Are you ready? Here's what we're going to have. Someone in the chat room said there's got to be a restaurant in there. I'm going to offer a restaurant that's going to be in there. A mom and pop, first generation West African restaurant. That's what it is. If you want West African restaurant. It's like a little takeout place. Go ahead, E.
I've seen more daiquiri shops than the West African restaurants.
Yes,
I have
if we're putting this in New Orleans, okay, I guess it's in New Orleans. Go ahead. We need more. We need one more.
I have a small Asian takeout.
And you're saying Chinese takeout because you don't mean Russia or India.
Well, there's Thai.
No,
it's either Thai or Vietnamese.
No,
it's not fancy.
I see Al's
like Wei.
Al's got it. Tattoo parlor.
Tattoo parlor. Did anybody say nail salon? How did nobody say nail salon? Just yellow letters that say NAIL.
Dude, it's got to have like a cricket or a Metro PCS.
Yes, that's it. That's our big client because they're national. We don't want Metro PCS. They make all the rules when it comes down to what neighbors are being bad.
Fred Loya. It's got a Fred Loya insurance. Like one of the bigger stores has been painted yellow and red. It's some version of car insurance with the yellow and red kind of repaint on the outside.
All right. Well, this was a fun exercise, and this is all in a parking lot that is anchored by a what do they call those places? Those costume worlds. Closed
Donut
down.
shop from the chat room. Got to have a donut shop.
A donut shop that is never open. That's never open. It never open because they're only open between like 5 in the morning and 10 in the morning. And who the hell is at that strip mall during those hours? We've got a donut shop in this neighborhood that is never open. The one next to the Little Caesars, never open.
Right, and then also will have some version of a defunct large building, and now an auto repair shop has moved into it.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right, guys, that's it. That's the world's sketchiest strip mall. Good. I stopped keeping track of what stores we had in the world's sketchiest strip mall.
Also, I would like to solicit your entries for Charo or your mom. If you would like to hear us evaluate on whether or not we'd like to smash your mother or Charo, submit your pictures to Pugs, please.
Here's a picture of your mom. We would like her. We'd like her when she's young. We'd like her in her middle age, and we'd like her as she is now. The mom you know and love. Send them to my DMs on Twitter, Pugs Moran, or on Facebook as well. James, what about Florida stories?
You need to go listen to Florida stories. They're going to open a check cashing place next to your house.
There you go.
And if you are listening to Florida stories, listen to The Florida Man, or watch The Florida Man.
Yeah, I don't know what this is
On
about.
Netflix.
Suddenly he's talking about Florida Man on Netflix. He somehow still thinks it's...
Why are you saying
It doesn't. It doesn't. He doesn't understand. He doesn't. All right, there we go. Still got the phlegm in my throat. No idea what's happening here. All right, I love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon. High noon tomorrow, Monday through Friday. I do a high noon show, high noon report. I give you all the headlines, the hot topics, the trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I give it to you in a nice little need to eat rundown style show. You never leave the High Noon Report wonder what's happening in the world, because I give you it all. Plus hot takes. Appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye, everybody.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest.